The Asus Ally X is claimed by many people to be the best handheld gaming device out on the market right now. I've had it since it released, which is about half a year ago by now, and I've been using it almost daily as my main gaming PC, both handheld but also connected to my monitors. I've done this simply to try and understand if it would be something that had the ability to replace my gaming PC completely. In the video today, I'll talk about how I've been using my device, what you can expect in terms of performance from a device like this, if you can use it as a replacement for your PC, and some of the good and bad things about the device. Let's get started. I usually don't go to too many different places since my job mainly requires me to sit at my desk and edit videos. So the way I've been using the Ally X for the most part has been as a couch gaming device, but also sometimes as a regular gaming PC with a monitor, mouse and keyboard connected. But I'm planning to have it with me for a trip to Austria, which is planned for late January 2025. And here I most definitely intend to have it with me to play some games on the go. On that trip I also need to sit in the back of a car for around 14 hours, so having some sort of entertainment is really necessary. So it'll most definitely come in clutch here. In my last review I said that I wouldn't use the device for playing FPS games, but since I released that video I've actually mainly been playing Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which is a FPS game. Any AAA title seems to run really good, but how good we'll get into in a short moment. The battery life on the device is 80 watt hours, which is supposed to be around 4 to 5 hours of playtime. But since I actually care mostly about getting the maximum performance out of the device, then I use the turbo mode, which comes out to about 2.5 to 3 hours of playtime, which is still really good, but it's only about half the battery life of the silent mode. So if you really want to preserve battery life, don't use turbo mode like me. But the battery life doesn't really matter that much to me, since I just often have a power outlet close to me anyway, or a power bank or some DJI batteries with me if I need to game for a longer period, where I can't get any power from an output of some sort. The DJI batteries can be used as a power bank, that's why I mentioned them, for those of you who are wondering. The ergonomics are mostly great, but if I've been gaming for a long period, my hands can tend to cramp a little bit. Especially the right hand, since the joystick on the right is a little lower than the left one, so that isn't as comfortable for my relatively large hands. At its core, it's a Windows PC, which means that you have the ability to tweak and adjust your quality and performance settings to your liking. You aren't as limited as you are with something like a PlayStation 5 as an example. So if you prefer your game to run really smooth like I do, you can set the settings to be of rather low quality instead of having an amazing looking game with choppy FPS. But it's all up to how you want to use the device. Now let's talk performance. What can you expect directly from the device?
In terms of performance, most games run best on settings that are in the low to mid range. You can crank it up to high settings, but then performance suffers quite a bit. So in these tests, I've completely stayed away from that. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 running in 1080p on low settings with AMD FSR upscaling technology unbalanced have a span of 70 to 100 FPS and averages around 80 FPS. On my 4K monitor with the same settings and upscaled from 2.5K to 4K, it got around 10 to 35 FPS and averaged around 25 FPS. So I wouldn't recommend to play this game in that resolution. Overwatch on the other hand ran a lot better in both 1080p and 4K, even without the need for any upscaling technology. Here it fluctuated between 80 and 145 FPS and averaged at like 120 FPS. This was the same in both 1080p and 4K. On Fortnite with medium settings, it also ran phenomenal with FPS of up to 200 FPS in some scenarios, but it averaged around the 120 FPS mark, which is also phenomenal since the screen is 120 Hz. In the adventure game Ratchet & Clank, it runs around 70 FPS with AMD FSR free upscaling, which is also quite fine since it's a story-based game.
I have a 4K color accurate 60Hz display, and if you intend to use something like this, I really do recommend that you use the AMD FSR free technology, which is like Nvidia's DLSS technology that scales up a lower quality pixel amount. for example 2.5K upscale to 4K. This will help a bit with the FPS on a monitor or a TV in a higher resolution. Basically yes, since it's just a Windows PC in a chassis with joysticks. But what I do recommend that you do though, if you intend to use it as your main desktop PC at home, is that you get some sort of docking station, because only having 2 USB-C outputs from the device is gonna limit you a lot. The only reason it kinda works fine for me is because I own 2 Dell monitors with a built-in USB hub in the back of the monitors, which makes it possible to insert a single cable to the Ally X and then have 10 USB-A ports available for different use cases, like inserting a CF Express Type A card reader, an external SSD, mouse, keyboard and headset and so on. If you intend to edit videos on the device, it really also ain't a problem at all. I completely edited a short form video about the Ally X on the Ally X a little while ago, and it worked great. The timeline was running smoothly the entire time, but I also weren't using any crazy edits within After Effects and stuff like that. But the footage was of rather high quality with 10-bit 422 S-Log free with 2 cube files for color grading. And there were absolutely no problems whatsoever. But if you want more power out of your device for games or editing at home, you also have the ability to buy an external GPU to put in an enclosure and connect it through the USB-C port on top, since the device supports Thunderbolt 4 through the USB ports. This makes it possible to run some way more graphics intensive games you wouldn't otherwise be ally to game at a high FPS and refresh rate. Continuing on the external GPU capabilities. This is something only this version of the Ally can do. So if you go ahead and buy the previous version of the Ally X, called the Ally, you won't be able to insert an external GPU into the device, which limits it a lot as a gaming PC replacement. So keep that in mind. Everything else like answering emails, watching Netflix or YouTube, moving files around, all of that you can easily do, since it is really just a Windows PC running Windows 11 at its core. So yes, it absolutely has the ability to be a PC replacement, if you want to. A thing I really love about the device is that it comes with a Game Pass Ultimate included for about 3 months time, which is just amazing since it makes it possible to download some of the latest and greatest games like Call of Duty Black Ops 6 as an example. So you can play that for a short period of time. The device has amazing airflow all the time, so it doesn't get that hot, and even though the fans are spinning at its maximum, it's never like extremely loud at any point. You might get a few looks from some strangers close to you if you're gaming in an airport or something like that, but it's definitely not bad. I do really like that you don't need to use it as a Windows PC if you don't want to. You can just use the joysticks and buttons within the Colorgrade app to go to any of the games that you have on your device in the library, even though it's from different launchers like Battle.net, Steam, etc. And in the Colorgrade app, you can also change the actions that the back buttons do, which is quite nice. It's also super nice to have a button for switching on real-time data like FPS, choosing your power consumption mode, and a few other things. But these 2 features are the ones that I use the most. I've mentioned it before, I just haven't done anything about it yet, but the fact that you have an M.2 NVMe SSD that you can upgrade to one with a bigger storage and faster speed is a huge deal. Because this means that you potentially can have 8 terabytes of storage and a unit that runs even higher FPS simply by swapping out the SSD. I mostly have positive things to say about the device, but I do also have a few kinda negative things which you have to be aware of before you go ahead and buy the device. The thing that annoys me the most is that it's so damn difficult to find a position where the device is comfortable to both hold onto and watch the screen at the same time, since the screen is in between the thumbsticks. It's a big screen, but it's not huge, so you have to have it relatively close to your eyes to see the crosshair in something like Call of Duty, so it's kinda annoying. I simply end up almost lying down just with my head tilted and then have my hands and the screen all the way up in my face. Not really an ideal position. But I also don't know how that should be fixed. I like that you have buttons on the back, since I'm also used to that from my old SCUF impact controller. But I would have liked for them to be a little bit further down and maybe a little bit bigger, because the placement isn't that ideal when you have large hands. Especially since the grips aren't that big either. But this is probably just a me problem. Most people would probably be happy with the placement. I have a friend that has the first generation Ally, and the major difference really only is the battery life, which is 40 watt hours on the Ally and 80 watt hours on the Ally X. It's nice to have double the size and battery life, but there's so many places that have a power output for charging your device, and you can also just get a cheap power bank and then you'll have battery for days. So the smaller battery on the Ally wouldn't be a deal breaker for someone like me. You do get better ergonomics and 1 TB of storage instead of 500 GB, but apart from that, it's still the same C1 Extreme processor, same 7-inch Full HD touchscreen with 120 Hz and 500 nits, etc, etc. So the better buy for most people would probably still be the regular Ally rather than the Ally X. Since it's a regular Windows PC, you might run into some minor issues with software updates from time to time. About a month ago, it had downloaded some faulty software to my unit through a Windows update. So the touchscreen wouldn't work at all, and I had to reinstall the latest Windows update again, and well, that thankfully seemed to fix all of these issues. It's just annoying. Another issue I've also ran into has been that the operating system started to completely just shut down. And then when I started it up again, I couldn't get past the message played on a black screen. It doesn't happen anymore, so I can't show you, otherwise I would've. My guess is that it's Asus's Armory Crate software that doesn't always play well together with Windows 11. But that's just a guess. It could also be as simple as Windows 11 just being a troublemaker. Because it's really not the first time I've had issues with Windows 11. It's starting to become a lot better, but damn, it was a mess back when it first released to the public. My guess is as good as any, but this is something you have to be aware of when it's running Windows. But that was all the kind of bad things I had to say about the device. It's a super nice device that definitely have given me something to think about when it comes to my gaming PC. But since I already own a relatively big, expensive and powerful PC, the right option for me would probably be to just change the case to a smaller one and then use that as my main device at home, and the Ally X for couch gaming or gaming on the go. Anything else would just be stupid. But if you're looking to get a handheld device that can work as your main gaming PC, both the Ally and the Ally X are some phenomenal choices. Then it's just up to you how, where and what you're gonna use it for, because if you have no intention of getting an external GPU and a bigger M.2 NVMe SSD, then I kinda think you should choose the Ally and not the Ally X. Because there is some nice improvements in some places, but the Ally is also a great device and also has the better price for the value that you get. This was all I had for you today. If this video just helped you the slightest, then please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I would highly appreciate that. Apart from that, I'm out.